Welcome to True Crime with Strategic Eyes.
Strategic back again. What's going on, guys? You know, for the last couple of days, maybe a week or two, we've been talking about Maddie, which is very sad story. But I wanted to just change directions with you guys to share with you something that happened to me today that I think is a tragedy that actually turned out being a story of beauty. And I want to share this with you. It's raw. It just happened to me just a couple hours ago. It actually happened to my entire family. My son wouldn't stop talking about it afterwards, and I think he was experiencing his own form of trauma from what he witnessed. I'm not going to leave you in any suspense. I'm going to jump into this because I think you need to hear this story. And the reason why I decided to talk about this with you guys is not because I want praise or I want any kind of adoration or anything like that. Is because I feel like in this time of the year, where it's election time, we're more divided than ever. And I think in this story that I'm going to tell you guys, you could find that silver lining that will remind you that at the end of the day, especially for my American listeners, we're one people and we're stronger together. I'm like choking up just talking about what happened today. So let me jump into it. I'm home, I'm doing videos, I'm doing my Maddie videos or whatever. And my wife is like, hey, you know, we're going to go to the Garden State Mall, which is in New Jersey. If anybody knows where that is at, and you're in the region, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I was like, hey, I want to come. You know, I dropped the video. It is what it is. I'm like, you know what? Let me go hang out with the family, do a little school shopping, just, you know, spend time because school is starting soon. As we're driving, it appears to be a crash in the distance. And I didn't notice it, but apparently, you know, my kid noticed it. One of my kids noticed it rather. And so we're driving 60 miles an hour. We go past, I see it. I look inside the windshield and I can't see anybody there. So I'm assuming it's an old crash and then the person had escaped. My daughter's like, Dad, I think somebody's in there. You have to stop. You have to help them. So naturally, you know, I stopped. Of course, you know, if I would have seen somebody with my own eyes, I would have stopped. But my daughter's telling me to stop, so I stopped. So I run back to the scene. I stopped just a little bit away because if she saw somebody in there, the car, as I stopped, I noticed the car was still smoking, possibly was on fire. I didn't want my family, it's my entire family, you know, my nuclear family, that's in that car, you know, my wife, my kids, the whole nine. I don't want the car to explode, the car crash car to explode and somehow injure one of my children. Even if the fires and the flames doesn't hit you, you could get shrapnel and stuff like that. So I parked just a decent distance away and I ran back to the scene. By the time I ran back to the scene, 2 other people had stopped. So now it's 3 of us on the scene. More people will come and we'll talk about that. And so I come up and I identify myself as a police officer and I tell them, hey, listen, I'm a police officer, what's going on? It's like, yeah, it's bad crash. And I'm like, is there anybody in there? Because at the time I still couldn't see. And it happened because couldn't see because his seat was all the way back. And one guy had looked inside and was like, yeah, he's in here. So I guess as soon as I said I was a police officer, everybody kind of stepped back. Because it's like, well, he's here, let him take the lead. And I get that, you know, I totally understand it. So I said, well, we got to get this guy out of here because the car is smoking and it could explode at any time, possibly, or at least catch on fire. We don't know. All right. So a Hispanic male, and I'm going to tell you races for a reason, guys. And we're going to get there because I don't do race stuff. All right. But there's a reason why I'm going to tell you races here. And it's a beautiful reason why, right? So a Hispanic male grabs the door's smashed in. He starts using all his might to pull that door back, and he pulls the door back, and now I've got room. So I unbuckle him. I say, hey, buddy, can you tell me your name? And he's woozy. He's like bleeding from his ears. It's an ugly crash, man. It was an ugly crash. Thank God this man is alive. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't even know what kind of car he was driving. And as an officer, the first thing I'm looking for is the make and model of a car. I could not tell you. It could have been a Bentley, could have been a Honda Civic. I couldn't tell you because the car was obliterated. The only thing that saved that man was the cage around him that's designed by car makers. And every single airbag, curtain airbags, side airbags, knee airbags, every single airbag you could possibly imagine had been deployed. That's how bad this crash was. was. So he's like, he's woozy. He's like, yeah. I was like, do you know your name? Like, do you know who you are? He's like, yeah. I was like, listen, buddy, you're going to be in a lot of pain right now because I got to get you out this car. I don't know what bones are broken on you, but we've got to move you because this car is not safe. He's like, I understand. So I unbuckle him and I pull him out. So now he's kind of falling out because he's a big guy. He's heavy, really big, heavy guy. And so I told this Indian guy who's standing there, hey, buddy, I need your help, man. You got to come over and help me. He's like, okay, no problem, whatever you need. So I put one arm over my shoulder, over my neck, and I grabbed his leg. And I told the other guy, do the same thing. So now we carry him. We're carrying his limbs, we're supporting him, and we bring him out, right? And we lay him down on the side of the road. So then we put him in a recovery position. I don't even know if that would have helped him. All I was thinking of, I don't want anything compressing on his lungs if he's having any problems breathing, broken ribs, whatever. So he's laying on his side. I go in his pockets, get his ID, find out his name. Hey, do you know what date it is? I don't know. Perfectly all right. Still had to ask it, see what his cognizant presence is like in the moment. You know, do you know your name? He knows his name. He starts talking. Okay, this guy is conscious. Okay. All right. So now we're there. I'm talking to him, letting him know, hey, I'm an officer. I've seen worse crashes, man. I'm just trying to make him feel good. You know, you're going to be all right, buddy. You're going to be all right. I check his body. He's got a million contusions on his back, man. His stomach has lacerations, contusions. You can clearly see some of the lacerations is from the seatbelt. We got to take our hats off and tip it to these engineers that make these cars, guys. We really, really do. Because these are 5,000, 10,000 pound missiles. And you have a good shot of surviving it if you wear your seatbelt and if you have a car that has the right safety measures like curtain airbags and all that stuff. And through regulation, a lot of these things are standard on these vehicles. So God bless these folks that design these cars. So now we're there. We're at the side of the road. Another guy comes, Caucasian guy. He starts getting into keeping the guy talking. We got to do this together because, you know, you just got to keep him talking, keep him conscious, right? Then this guy's like, you know what, man? I see a lot of smoke coming out of that car. Maybe we need to move him a little further. I'm like, all right, let's do it. So by that time, a Hispanic female came and she had a blanket, like an emergency blanket that you'd have in the back of your car. So we tell him, roll on the blanket. He's able to roll. That's a good sign. He rolls on the blanket himself. He's screaming in agony, but he's moving. We get him on a blanket, and I know some people can say we shouldn't have, we had to, because if this car exploded, not only would it have taken us out, it took him out as well. So now we all lift the sheet up on each corner, and we pull him even further away from the car. Now we all feel like we're at a safe distance, right? Now, some Hasidic Jewish guys in minivans, they roll up. I always wondered what they have in those minivans. And I always envied them a little bit with those minivans because, believe it or not, people are going to laugh at me. I think minivans are the coolest cars. And I don't care what anybody would say about me. I never ended up getting one because I always wanted one with four-wheel drive. And the only ones that I knew that had four-wheel drives at the time were the Toyotas. And they were insanely expensive. So like, I'm not investing that kind of money in a minivan. I think now the Chryslers have four-wheel drive and they have the eco, you know, plug-in hybrid thing. When I get some money, I'll get me a minivan. Some people get Porsches and Ferraris. I'm going to get me a minivan. So they roll up in a minivan, and the mystery was solved because on the back of his minivan it says EMT. And he said, I'm an EMT. Is there any way I can help? Like, yeah, man, this guy, bad accident, whatever you could do. Well, another guy rolls up, and he has a stethoscope. I don't even know if he's an EMT or a doctor. Well, these guys open up their trunk, and they have mini ambulances in that trunk. And these guys get out the oxygen. They start, you know, working on the guy, squeezing his feet. Hey, can you feel that? He says, yes, I can feel my toes. We all sigh, you know, of relief because we're like, all right, he's not paralyzed. This is great. You know what I'm saying? They, you know, so now all of us are there giving him comfort, standing by him, making sure he knows he's not alone. People are driving by. They're like, is he okay? Is everything all right? We're like, yeah, he's okay. America cares about him. And then what ends up happening, guys? New Jersey State Troopers arrive, and what do we see? A black officer, a Latino officer, two white officers. One is a sergeant, one is a regular officer. They're there. And why do I say all these races, guys? Because it made me feel so good to just remind me. in this time of darkness where everybody on the left and the right, we're all biting at each other's necks, and you have people screaming out racism and divide and xenophobia and all these different things. And I'm not going to get into whether these things are right or wrong. That's for you to decide. We don't talk about that stuff on this show. But what I saw was the greatest country on earth. And I know my international audience is going to disagree with me. They're going to say, no, Australia is better. No, UK is better. No, South Africa is better. We had our bad moments in South Africa, but South Africa is great now. Oh, no, Iceland is, we got people from Greenland watching the show. We got people from everywhere in the world watching this show. They're going to say, no, our country is better. But I got to tell you what makes America so special is that we are a multicultural country. If this crash happened in Africa, 9 times out of 10, all those people who would have been doing the work of humanity, standing by their fellow brother human, would have been African. If it happened in China, China has insanely low immigration. You would have had nothing but Chinese people there. But here in America, you had an Indian guy, you had a black guy, you had a Hispanic guy, you had 2 white guys, you had a white lady and a Hispanic lady. And then when the cops came, you had more blacks and Latinos coming. You had a West Indian woman. I could tell from her accent. Me and her the same. She came, is he good? Is he okay, man? I'm like, yeah, he's good. He's good. Oh, good, man. I got my kids in the car. I'm going to go now. Okay, no problem. Thank you for at least stopping, coming out your car and making sure this guy was all right. We had the most beautiful, truly rainbow coalition out there. Every single example of the world's humanity was out there on the side of the New Jersey Turnpike. Is it the New Jersey Turnpike? No, the Garden State Turnpike. I'm sorry, that's a different turnpike. Supporting this man who was of Russian descent. I left it last. He was of Russian descent, Slavic descent. I don't know if he was a immigrant from Russia. I don't know, but he had a Russian accent and a Russian name. We're all out there together, making sure that this man is not alone. One of the guys even tried to call his wife, but he was so disoriented, he just couldn't get the password out. He would start, and then he'd stop, and he'd start again and stop. And he never gave the full password. Cops came. We stuck around for a little bit. One lady said, I will stay for the long run because I saw the entire accident. He was able to even recount the accident. He said he was cut off and then he got clipped. And then that's when he spun out of control and went into the divide and his car got obliterated. And the woman backs up what he said. So I gave my information to the troopers and I left and I got in the car with my family. And as I told you guys, my son was a little traumatized. He started, talking about it. He wouldn't stop talking about it. We just let him talk about it. We walked him through it. We supported him. We let him know that the man was okay and the accidents do happen. And even though the accident looked really, really bad, the man was going to be fine. And I assured him he'd be fine. And eventually he worked himself through it and it was cool. But why am I telling you this story? Well, number one, I want to throw it out there into the universe to the man that was in that car. I hope you're okay. I hope that your family gets to meet you at the hospital. I hope that nothing was long lasting. No injuries will be long lasting for you. I want you to know that you were brave, that you were strong, and your family would be proud of you and how you conducted yourself at that moment. They may see you in a different condition later when the pain comes in, because the pain is going to come, brother. But at that moment, the scene of that crash, you were brave. You were a warrior, bro. So keep that in mind. Strategic is telling you that. I'm also making this video to thank all those people who stopped and did everything that they could to support this man. Everybody out there was helpful. Everybody out there took part in the saving of this man and the comfort of this man. This is not a story about Strategic. This is an American story. And the last reason why I'm telling this story is because of Americana. Because of America, because out there is what America is about. Because we are a nation of different ethnicities, different races, creeds, the whole nine, different religions. But there's one thing that we all agree upon, no matter what religion, race, creed you are. There's a religious statement that you could find in different variations in every single religion, almost every single religion. And that is to love thy neighbor. And out there, we were exemplifying what it means to love thy neighbor. And I walked away from that crash scene with a renewed love. And I'm very patriotic, so I guess the love never really went anywhere, but it's almost like a renewed vow, because I am I love America, and my love for America never dwindles. I'm not one of those people that walk around saying America is trash or America is bad and whatever. You know, I'm not going to hate you if that's your ideology. You believe it. Do whatever you want. That's the great thing about our country. You can believe whatever you want. That's not me. I love my country, but it was almost like I renewed my vows at the end of that crash, in the belief of how beautiful this country is, how diverse this country is, and how great this country is and the people who are in it. So if you're not in this country and you're a fan of the show, it's no knock on you. I don't live in your country. I don't know how you guys operate. And I'm pretty sure you guys are great people. But for my Americans who's watching this show, never forget about how great this country is. The most diverse country in this world, where we're divided on social things at times. Shoot, we're divided on economic things at times. But when push comes to shove, we always manage to come together. So I'm going to leave this show now, and I hope that it to you as well was a beautiful story. And I just want to say, God bless America, number one, and Strategic is out of here, number two. I see you guys on the next one. Peace.